Hi, and welcome to Infertility Unfiltered, where fertility experts and warriors are joining forces to provide you with tips, tricks, inspiration, information, and lessons so that you can take back control of your fertility journey and get your baby on board. Hi, I'm Jennifer Robertson, and today we are so blessed. I'm such a big fangirl of this show. We're joined by Martha Goddard. Now, Martha is an award-winning writer and director of short drama, documentary, and web content. To date, her work has screened at over 30 film festivals around the world. Martha was a recipient of Screen Australia's Gender Matters Initiative for an online series, All Our Eggs, which is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. And she's also directing her first broadcast television episode on season 2 of the AFI-nominated series, The Bureau of Magical Things 2, on the Gold Coast, which is exactly my backyard. So today we're going to be talking about, as I said, All Our Eggs, which is an Instagram drama told in 1-minute episodes, and it explores a couple's rocky journey towards parenthood. Now, Eggs is based on Vanessa Bates' memoir, Legs Up and Laughing, and stars Adrienne Pickering. Now, if you stick around to the end as well, Martha is going to tell you how you can watch the series and how you can actually be involved in the direction that the series evolves, which I find really exciting. So thank you so much for joining us, Martha Goddard.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to chat about this series. I have a lot of passion for this topic and this story.
Me too. And that's why I wanted to get you on as well, because this is a series that really hits home, and it's like you've dug into, my soul or my journey, and it's out there on the screen, and you're depicting it in such a truthful, and also it has a little bit of humor of the things that we put ourselves through. So I would love to know from you, what inspired you to do this particular project?
Sure. So look, we're going back a couple of years now. The producer, Dan Pritchard, read a book. So this book was a memoir by a terrific Australian playwright, Vanessa Bates. This was her experience of going through IVF. She wrote a blog just to, I think, purge what was happening to her as a writer. That's what you do to survive the experience. And that was published in a book called Legs Up and Laughing. Now, I first read the book several years ago, and I was just struck by how intimate and biting it was, and the injustice of infertility, how unknowable it is until you start trying. And then there's this great injustice that it could be too late. And I was in my early 30s then, and I really had been putting off the topic of, do I want children? Because in the arts, there's a lot of pressure to get your career online first, right? Which is quite a common story. And so our biology and our social demands are not in sync. So this isn't a new problem, but it was for me when I picked up this book. And I was shocked by some of it, and it was so heart-wrenching. That sense, that human sense that we are not wholly in control of our lives. I think that really cuts to the core of the human condition, that sense of powerlessness. And there's this great oscillation of hope and faith and despair and longing. So all of these elements made it really juicy material that I very quickly fell in love with. And then because Vanessa's story was 10 years old, and I know that IVF has come a long way, in the last 10 years, I started talking to a lot of women that were going through IVF or had just been through IVF or were just discovering that they were on this journey of infertility. So dozens of women. And I would end up crying on these phone calls along with them. They were really generous to share stories. And I found that while each story was unique, there were definite echoes of each other. So there were common beats or tropes or lines or experiences that would crop up in most stories. So while it feels isolated sometimes, like I think women can feel really isolated going through this process, it's actually a very shared common experience. And so I really started to feel this great sense of responsibility and passion for telling this story and sharing this story for these women, because they want to see their story on screen. It's very cathartic to connect and to feel connected by joint experience. So for all these reasons, I just fell in love with this project, and Dan, Vanessa and I had an initial story room where we created, it's quite different from the book. We created a new character inspired by the main character in the book, and support characters, and mainly it's this couple's journey and her relationship to her mother, and her best friend, and herself, her own journey towards motherhood. And we have a very direct address to camera, like to the audience. Charlie, our main character, she talks to the audience, to the camera, because it's such a intimate, private experience and set of feelings, emotions. It's very rich. We felt like we wanted her to speak directly to the women going through this experience. We want women to sit there with their laptops in bed with a tuna, with a glass of wine or a cup of tea, and just really go on this journey with Charlie.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it really connects so much. And I remember watching the episodes, there was the one with them having sex and the alarm about to go off, and we've all done that, and there was the episode with her gynecologist where she was talking about her eggs being old and going through all of the doubts, and then
so relatable. It's so relatable,
so much so, and the violation. But what I love what you do as well is that you bring a little bit of humor to it, which
sure.
This is, it's not fun being
not
on the journey,
no.
But there are moments where you just kind of like, I can't believe I'm doing this. But it's not until afterwards that you look back and go, this isn't normal, but this is what our life becomes. And it's nice almost being able to go, okay, I'm not the only one that has these moments where they're like, I had no idea that for me, I would be carrying a cup of sperm on the train to work in my handbag. These are just things that you never thought that you would be able to do. So I love that we're able to connect. And so what's the response been to this?
Oh yeah, look, terrific response. On that with the comedy, it is a very sensitive issue. So we're never laughing at it, but the comedy comes from that sense of absurdity. Like, it's such an absurd, like you with your sperm in your handbag, you catch yourself in these moments of like, what does my life become? And that is really very funny. Live tragedy, comedy, it's on a knife's edge. And there's a lot to be said about humor masking pain as well. A lot of Charlie's asides are quite biting and dark and funny, but it's because it's a self-preservation. So I think that's also very relatable. So because of all of these factors, we've had a terrific response so far. We've made a short proof of concept, so like a 7-minute short, and I had written a longer form series, so a more traditional approach, these 9 by 15-minute web series, which we were then talking to the ABC about adapting into 6 half-hour episodes. So it was trucking along this very traditional path, which was very exciting for us. But then, as I'm sure most of the viewers in Australia at least would be aware, some pretty major funding cuts happened to the ABC. And so our project took a bit of a backseat. And so we're sitting there with this material, with this 7-minute short, with this whole 5-year journey, character journey that we have written and developed, and I'm really invested in. And we also had these very short, 45-second as additional material, just to support the 7-minute short. But when we were showing people, we were getting as powerful a response to these like tiny micro shorts. One, for example, they're really just gorgeous moments that are very unique to the experience and process of IVF. So, for instance, there's a moment where Charlie is talking to her tummy when she's just had a transfer, asking it to stick, asking the new embryo to stick. And that sense of that relationship starts from that moment that it's transferred. The hope starts. There is a relationship that has begun. So that really resonated. It's this really small 45-second piece, but it really packs a punch. So we knew that we had this material in this shorter form, but it wasn't until we were stuck in COVID lockdown that Dan and I were like, we have got this creative black hole, like we need to do something with ourselves creatively, because all our other projects had stopped. We're like, look, we've got that material, let's put it on TikTok and dip a toe into our social media plans, like start start to find our people, start to build our tribe. And we were both, no one was more surprised than us that when I got this message from Dan going, we just hit 1 million views. Hang on, 2 million views. And so very quickly we had like 3 million views on TikTok. We were going, really? Is TikTok really our audience? Wow, okay. And so then we started to experiment with Instagram, where we thought, well, we feel like our audience lives on Instagram as well. And we can do some interesting things on Instagram, like tell the story with these 1-minute clips, but also with images and text and image stacks and, questions that we can throw to the group and get feedback and start a dialogue with our group. And so, yeah, from kind of the start of COVID in March till now, we've built our following from, I think we had, 100 to we're maybe 4,000, something like that. So that's been really exciting to see and to have some really meaningful engagement.
Yeah, and the reason that you're having such great success is because it really is reaching into the hearts of people who are not only on the journey, but like me, who have been on the journey as well. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing now. So they can find you on TikTok, they can find you on Instagram,
Yes.
On YouTube as well. And
Yes.
where else can they find you, and how can they be involved in this as well?
Sure. So look, joining our Instagram page is probably one of the best ways to start engaging, because probably more material gets uploaded there because of the images and questions we can put to the audience. And so we really do, we read every comment, we reply, we encourage other members of the Instagram site to talk amongst themselves on the site, which is really exciting to see. And I do make note of all the new things that I sort of tuck things away to use in the scripts. So I'm still scripting, we're still shooting actually, based off the enthusiasm from the followers. We have started making some 9 new clips. Started shooting those in lockdown conditions. So Adrian happens to have a very talented documentary filmmaker as a husband. So he has the ability to shoot with me on Zoom, and our sound designers in Buenos Aires, our composers in Prague. And so we've been doing this very online collaborative thing where we've just finished 2 more clips that we're about to launch on Sunday, next few Sundays. And so I'm still, until we commit those to celluloid, I am putting in new little details or rewriting lines inspired by some of the comments from our viewers or ideas that I get there. from the
Oh,
chat.
that's brilliant. And it's so exciting to know that there is more coming. So I cannot wait to see the rest of it. Thank you, Martha, so much for everything that you're doing. Thank you to your team as well. They're all doing an amazing job. So
thank you so much for watching. There is nothing more rewarding for creators than actually engaging
people watching.
finding a tribe. Yeah,
absolutely. Excellent.
Thank you.
And if you are watching this interview too, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a little love as well. Feel free to like, share, and make sure you subscribe to this channel as well, because this is just one of a number of brilliant interviews as part of the Infertility Unfiltered series. So thanks for watching.